And that is culture. When you can look at somebody directly and say, we can do more together than we could ever do by ourselves. Golden hour. Number 3, culture in the workplace. So how to build culture, how to create a good culture, how to maintain a good culture. Without further ado, let's take it away. I think culture is a word that's like kind of a hot word right now. I think that people are, there. A lot of people are saying it. I don't think a lot of people know what that means, right? So like, I used that as a hot word for a long time when we were building it. I'm like, we've got a good team, and so I think sometimes people go, good team means good culture. Um, it was, we have a good process. I think a lot of people go, if you have a good process and you have a good team, you have a good culture. Um, but I don't think that's true. I think that you can have a good team, you can have a good process, you can have a good product, and you still might not have a great culture. And I think the culture comes from investment. I think it comes from an investment in people. I think it comes from responsibility. I think when you give people credit, when you give them responsibility, when you invest in them heavily, you start to see this uptick of culture because they understand that they're responsible for their portion and they feel a lot of value in that. I think culture all comes down to value. How do we value people in our business? How do we value our customers? How do we go about expressing that value? I think if all of those things align on a value level, I think you have great culture. I think it all comes back to, what do you find valuable? What to your employees? What do you find valuable to your customers? And what do you find value in when it comes to the way that you produce this? I think it's kind of a piece of art business. I do. I think it's like, how can we take these people and connect them with these people, make this process so amazingly simple, yet personable, yet heartfelt? How do we do that and it not be faked, but actually it's like sincerity, right? So I think a lot of value, and then the sincerity backing the value is where I think a lot of great company culture comes from, and we're really, to be honest, just getting to that point. And it's so much fun to be able to talk about. Man, I always talked about how we had a great culture, and now I understand that we do have a great culture because of those small tweaks in my mind and making sure to put the focus on people first. You can't have a great culture without people first. And I think it took me a little bit to realize. And now that I know it, it's like, it's just so much fun because you can build people, you can shape people, people can grow with you. And it all of a sudden becomes not about you or the business, it becomes about those people. And they just naturally build a great business and a great organization that just has great culture. Oh man, I did everything wrong. If I look back on it, I mean, I'm glad for the learning at such a young age, but I mean, I was a tyrant when when I got in and I wanted to start building the business. I wanted it my way and my way only, and there was no one could tell me what to do. No one had a better idea than I had, and that there is not a quicker way to smash culture than to do that. Now I look at it completely opposite. I'm like, you probably have a better idea than me. Let me help you flesh it out. And like, just that tiny paradigm shift of like, your idea is probably better than mine, but let me use my ability to look at it from a different lens to magnify it and make it a really concrete idea. And everyone wins then. We're using their idea. I can use my skill set of honing in and really making sure we have a really nice package of the idea presented. And so it's like, it's exactly what we need to do, and everyone's involved then. There was so many little things, like I would want to coach somebody, and instead of coaching them, I'd yell at them. I mean, it's just like, really, I don't think I actually was coaching. I think I was just upset, and I wasn't expressing that in a way of like where anyone's getting any value out of it. And so, flipping that, 180 was just like, hey, what's going on that we can't get on the same page? What can I do to help you? And if I can't help you, then we just, like, how can I help you get to the next step in your life? Just these little tweaks that they don't seem like a lot now, but looking back, I mean, it was terrible. I mean, it was It was not good for people. It was not good for morale. It was not good for culture. And so the beautiful thing about it is I never stopped trying to grow, and I started surrounding myself with great business owners, great business leaders, speakers, books that all talked about how to build people up. And through that growth, I've learned that that is really the secret to success. Yeah, I mean, I've always been like an eager learner. Like I have some friends. They always call me Curious George because it's so true. Like I can't stop trying to find like the next. Like, how can we tweak this? How can we I want to know more about this. I was at lunch the other day and we were talking about a jewelry store and how their marketing plan was, and I just couldn't. Like, I was like asking 100 questions. Like, it's over the top how many questions I'm asking. I'm just so excited to like learn a new thing. So that is just innately in me. But I would say, yeah, reaching out to the right resources and not just learning about random stuff, but to say, I know, and be self aware enough to know that you're struggling with something and go, this isn't a them issue. This is a me issue. And when you can look inside and go, ooh, I'm not handling that correctly. What are the resources I can find to make me better in that area? It's amazing what happens. Like, you find people who really can help you. You open your mind up and say, it's not all about me. I'm not doing this well. Who can help me? And when you go out into the world with that kind of energy and you're like, man, people can help me. Like, I am open to help. It's the people come out of the woodwork that you couldn't even believe, and they'll give you insights that you're like, I would not have guessed that you were going to give me that amazing insight. And so it's just really cool because I think a lot of people, we put some people on a pedestal and we also put other people down, and it's not true. We're all on a level playing field. We all have different experiences, different things that make us tick, and if we can find that in each person, we're all going to grow so much as human beings, and that's what I've learned. I think with self-awareness comes this ability to see the self differently. Like, you don't judge yourself. You just look at it with like a very contextual view of like who I am and what's making me tick and why I'm like producing this to the world is probably because of something that's inside of me from past trauma or past relationships or past meetings, or I'm bringing all this stuff from my mind to the forefront that has nothing to do with the current situation. And if I'm aware of that, then I instantly know when I'm like, I've overstepped my bounds. My idea is not the right idea. And it's hard because, we've talked now the last 2 days, just touched on anger. I think for me, anger is a big trigger, right? Like when I know I'm right and I'm not positioning the content right and people aren't hearing me, anger is the first thing that I want to lead with. And so I think just self-metering that too is really, really important. Like, find out what your your tick is that can maybe get you off track, and then bring that back and go 5 deep breaths or some reset. I mean, people have reset words or like a certain area of the body they touch or whatever, but just making sure that you're aware of like, oh, this is going down not a good path. I've been here before. Let me revert back and get back in the zen. I think self-awareness comes from being grateful. I think when you can realize and I do exercises at my house. I do exercises with my employees that are, what am I grateful for today? What can I do to use gratitude to get myself in the right headspace mentally? So I might spend 5 to 10 minutes a day to start my day on a gratitude exercise of, I'm thankful for this, this, this. And people, it sounds crazy that you might spend 5 to 10 minutes giving thanks, and it's a muscle. The first time I did it was 2 minutes. I was like, what else could I possibly be thankful for? Now I could go for a half an hour, 45 minutes. Just the time frame is it's a little bit zany. But that's what I would lead with. If I was trying to get someone self-aware, I would say, let's do an exercise about what you're grateful for. And I don't think anyone can do that exercise consistently for a week and not be very aware of how amazing their life is, what what things they need to work on. It's amazing when you give thanks for things, you actually find things you can improve, and you don't take them as a negative. It's very interesting. Like the human the condition of like we really want to beat ourselves up about things, and the more we beat ourselves up, the more we become we become centric to self, and you would feel like that would make you more self-aware. It makes you completely opposite of that. You're very unaware. You're very in a bubble that is just like I'm here and I kind of am in this fetal position of self. Whereas to be self-aware is to almost expand out, look around, and then from the outside mind look in. So you really have to be open to be self-aware. It's not to be self-aware is not to be so tight, but is to be open and to see it in. What are the exercises? So literally, like it can start as something as basic as let's do a quick grab a notebook. A lot of people can't my skill is to like wing it. Like I can jump on camera with no script, no words, no nothing, and it will come out like a lot of the times how I want it to come out. Some people that's not the case. Some people it's writing. Now if I wrote and had to read my script, I would sound terrible. I mean it would be painful. But for other people, that's their skill, right? They get the time to process. They can write it down. So you just got to identify who that person is and what they're doing. And then once you know who they are, you can kind of coach tailor the exercise around that. So it might be let's write down 10 things you're grateful for. So I'd start with that. With anybody, is just writing it down. And I mean, it's pretty common stuff, family, my house, my job. That's not the gratitude I'm talking about. I'm talking about like really true experience in the mind of gratitude. So I close my eyes and I'll go to those moments. It's not just my family, it's my mom, and I think about all the stuff she instilled in me. And why I'm so grateful that she was a part of my life and is a part of my life. And I dive deep into that gratitude. And I paint this picture of my mother and why I'm so grateful. You see the difference? So everyone likes to play surface level, but nothing happens on the surface level. You know what I'm saying? If you sprinkle a seed on the top of the ground you're not getting a lot of depth, right? It's why you plant the seed just a little bit under the soil so you can let it grow deep. And that's what we have to do with gratitude is we have to get past the surface level stuff. We have to dig down a little bit and then start the gratitude because the seed will grow from there. And so everything, a law of attraction is popular, all this stuff. Gratitude needs to be the number one thing that everyone leads with every day. Like every morning you wake up and you're like, I don't want to do this today. Bullshit. You're just not grateful to be alive. If you get up, I mean, we were talking about this morning, up at 5 again, doing another video. It's like, I don't want to do it. If I have that thought, it's because I'm not grateful for the moment. I should be grateful for those 5 a.m. mornings because they really, really charge me up for the rest of my day. I should be grateful for those moments because I get to spend time with you. I should be grateful for those moments because I get to spend time with the people that are watching this. But because I'm not aware of that in that one little moment and I'm not grateful for it, it can very quickly, if you're not very mentally strong, spiral you out of control. And that's what happens to a lot of people. They go, I have this great idea, I'm going to do this. Day 3 in, they let that thought take over. And they just stay in bed. And then they stay in bed. And it's important to have an accountability, and that's where culture comes in too. Teamwork is a crucial part of culture. Right? Like if you and me were in a team and we said we're going to hold each other accountable to building great content and building a great platform, we wouldn't. You wouldn't do it by yourself and I wouldn't do it by myself. And that's why when you start to get a team together, it really creates this bond and this commonality where it's like we are working together towards something so much greater than ourselves. And that is culture. When you can look at somebody directly and say, we can do more together than we could ever do by ourselves. I think people want to work in a place where they know they're valued. Truly valued. It's not awards. It's not dinners. It's just you are doing a great job keep up the good work. Like, a great job. Like, I am inspired by what you're doing. If you can say that to your people, they will do so much for you. Because no one is giving them the true praise they deserve when they're winning. And that leads a bunch of mediocrity and a bunch of bullshit and a bunch of people hating their jobs and hating their lives. We don't want that. We do not want resentment in this at all. We want to find people who want to win for themselves so we can all win like we can never win by ourselves.